Good morning, guys. Just got out of the shower and I have a lot to tell you guys. So let's go make breakfast. Assuming that you already read the title of this video, I'm going to talk about my story. And the reason I'm going to do that is because a lot of the projects that I'm going to put on here are not going to make sense if I don't tell you this. So let's get to it. So I've lived in a bunch of countries and I started here. So I was born in Venezuela and I lived there for 12 years. So I speak Spanish and basically spent there the entirety of my childhood. At one point, my family decided to leave for multiple reasons. The most obvious being the fact that Venezuela is going through a horrible time and that it's going through a huge crisis, making it impossible to have a good quality of life. And that led us to move to the US. Moving to the US was probably the most influential part of my life, and that's for a number of reasons. The first being that Venezuela and the US are completely different in terms of culture, and that change from Venezuela to the US was a complete shock to me, and that took me a while to get used to. I didn't know English, so I was basically thrown into a school system where I didn't know the language, and I was forced to learn it. But I think it turned out pretty good, based on what you can hear probably. The first year of school, if you ask my friends, I just sat there. I was just really quiet, listening to everyone, listening to my teacher speak, and I didn't really have any friends at that point. I was just a really quiet kid that just wanted to learn a lot of things, and at that point I was just focused on learning the language and trying to understand the culture because, like I said, it was completely different. But after that, it was pretty good. I managed to learn the language and I made really good friends who are now my best friends. I did my freshman and sophomore year of high school there, but then unfortunately we had to leave the country. And this is really important. This is because one of the projects that I want to do is based around this, the reason why we left. My parents owned a business there, and unfortunately the business went bankrupt. And that forced my dad and my mom to go back to what they used to do. But we, of course, weren't going to go back to Venezuela. So our next best option was to move to Europe. And that was because we are not American citizens, but we do have Spanish passports, which would allow us to move to Europe and live there legally. And that's why we're here now. So, England. I hated England. Let's just put it like that. I'm sorry if you're British and you're watching this, but I hated England. I lived in a town called Ashford in Kent. And no offense to the people that live there, but I didn't like the town. It was really small, and I just didn't like the people there. And that was probably the most depressing part of my life. Thankfully, that only lasted about 4 months. My dad got a job opportunity in the Netherlands, which is where I'm at now. And yeah, that was our last step. So that's where I am now, in the Netherlands, and I really like it here. It's a really calm place. Compared to England, it's 100 times better. So I'm not complaining. I have a job here, I'm studying, and overall, it's really good. And it's probably the best place I've been to, aside from the US, which I really liked at one point. But yeah, not bad. So there you have it. That's my story. Hopefully I explained it well enough. If you guys have any questions, please send me questions. I'll be more than happy to answer them, because I know it can be confusing moving from one place to another, and I definitely missed out on a bunch of details. So if you guys have any questions, like I said, let me know. Aside from that, just stay tuned in, because very soon I'm going to tell you about my most important project, and hopefully that'll be exciting for all of you. So I'll catch you later.